The Voortrekker Monument dominates one of the hills in the South African capital, Pretoria. It was built to commemorate the movement of the Afrikaner people into the interior of the country, an impressive feat by all accounts.
And it also makes sense that this is such an Afrikaner icon, because if you go back in history, you will find that during the time of the Great Trek, the pioneer period, when 20,000 people left the Eastern Cape and they relocated first in KwaZulu-Natal and then they moved to the more northern parts where we are standing now, that period was followed by 20 years of independence of two Boer republics.
It's undoubtedly an impressive building, one that celebrates a long history with this country. But the Afrikaner people also have a problematic past with South Africa. Apartheid was created by the Afrikaners. Segregation had always been a feature in South Africa, but under the Afrikaner government, the apartheid policy was stricter and more systematic from 1948.
Everything we have done in the last 300 years and built up in the church and in the state should be preserved and not be swallowed up by an, I wouldn't say inferior race, because I don't believe it is an inferior race, but a lesser a race which is in a lesser state of development, that's all.
And the future of the Afrikaner was forever changed when South Africa gained its freedom from apartheid in 1994.
I think any South African who tells you he is not untouched, either in his heart or ideological, with the changes after 1994, if you can say that, then obviously you must be living in a cocoon. So even management on premises, we are very specific aware of the changes. So we participate in nation building, and we say that openly. We also participate in social cohesion.
So what is the future of the Afrikaner people? Indeed, a diverse community in South Africa. On the slopes outside Pretoria's Union buildings, we find out more.
You can't escape your history. So where you come from, your culture is a part of you, no matter how far you go away from it. Be yourself in a diverse country than to try and fit in.
Our generation is starting to be like more, okay, I'm speaking Afrikaans. Possibly that means I'm Afrikaans, but it's not necessarily that defines me as a person.
Sometimes it feels like families are blamed for every bad thing that happened in South Africa. So sometimes that perception is hard to break.
Even today, it runs with you, and that's horrible to be a person that's trying to deviate from all of those stigmas that are connected to you. But it's almost like it's continuously haunting you.
But there's still a lot of hurt. There's a lot of hurt, and I can't necessarily take that away, which is sad. But yeah, we still need to sort of build a bridge over that gap.
We as South Africans live in bubbles. We interact with people of different cultures in very specific contexts, very rarely socially and very rarely openly. And this is not healthy. We as white South Africans in particular, we tend to live in a completely different country to what the majority of our fellow countrymen live in. The majority of white South Africans, I don't think, are aware of this or don't want to admit this, because this is a comfortable illusion for them. And of course the black South Africans as a rule are very much aware of this. And of course they dislike white South Africans because of this. And as I said, this is not helping us at all.
I'm studying medicine at the moment, but I really have no need to just finish my internship and then go to a private hospital. There's no need for me to do that. I would much rather stay in a public health facility, even though the situations are much worse, the facilities aren't that great. But I'm committed to trying to make South Africa better on a very physical, practical way.
I'm an urban designer. I design spaces, and the way that I'm introducing this whole change is I'm forcing people into these uncomfortable zones and forcing them to have to deal with the fact that we are all here together. I'm doing it with informal settlements within town. You know, I'm forcing the rich elite to suddenly have to deal with the fact that there are now poor native South Africans living right on their doorstep.
It's not us against them, but it's us, we. There's only we, South Africans, not against each other, but for each other.
What the black community, I think, really need is acknowledgement of their anger at the past injustices, admit the wrongs of the past, refrain from saying, you should do this. Allow people their anger and their frustration and say, we are sorry for what happened, how can I help?
South Africans are still clearly walking the road to reconciliation. It's not an easy one, not for the Afrikaner community, nor any other in this country. But clearly, there's still hope for future generations. Lindy Mtongana, CGTN, Pretoria, South Africa.